Time back here in Lagos, some unscrupulous people are troubling the peace in Nigeria's commercial hub. Some killings and abductions are being recorded in the state, and the authorities have now vowed appropriate response. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has vowed to ensure that the killers of the Chief Superintendent of Police, Kazeem Abode, are brought to justice, and that killing has even precipitated some tension in the last 48 hours, still in Lagos, with the abduction of 5 persons, including a retired Air Force Marshal, Sikiru Smith. Because this kidnap happened further in the Ajah area of Lagos here, and the circumstances, thanks to the driver who happened to have left his boss to run some errands, that was how this news circulated all across the state. But indeed, we should be concerned.
We should be concerned because we are saying that Lagos was fortunate to not be coming under the kind of attacks that we are daily reading about in the northwest and the north central. If Lagos degenerates to that level, we will all be in trouble. I could say that Lagos is the safest state in Nigeria because relative to the size of its population, the kind of criminal activities that we hear about in other parts of Nigeria, we don't hear about them here. Cultism is rampant here, but you will not compare cultism to rampant banditry in Kaduna, for example, and the number of people who get killed. If we could lose more than 3,000 people within 3 months in our country, out of this number, how many people died in Lagos? 88 persons died in one day in Kebbi State. 88 persons in Kebbi State, in the Zuru Emirate. So, for us to start hearing about kidnapping, especially the kind of kidnapping that involved this Air Vice Marshal Smith, it bears the hallmark of the kind of kidnap of school children, students of Babington Ashaye School back then. Those who carried out the attack operated on the Lagos waterways. Militants who came all the way from Ondo State. Thankfully, they were eventually arrested. These ones too were clearly maybe militants who had been dislodged from some parts of Lagos, Korodu, Arepo, places where they were vandalizing pipelines, because the civil defense have done a lot of work in terms of protecting pipelines in Lagos, and they've been dislodging these fellows. It is suspected that they were the ones who carried out, given the modus operandi, that they were the ones who carried out this abduction of Sikiru Smith. And unfortunately, even his orderly, the corporal, was not there because he had sent him
some form of protection.
Well, maybe
arguably,
depending on how
much the opposition,
he probably would not have been able to stand up.
Maybe he would just have a 6 round of a pistol with him.
They probably would have killed him as well, but he was not around, and the man was taken away. So after that, we've also heard about a Redeemed Church pastor who was kidnapped in Dokpemo Agege along with his wife.
The wife.
So you want to ask, what's going on? What are these people trying to turn Lagos to? We just have to be vigilant. It is said that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We can't sit back in Lagos and convince ourselves that everything is fine. These things don't happen here. Therefore, imagine that it can never happen. No, it can happen. As criminals are being dislodged up north and other places, they will find havens. They will look for havens. And if Lagos provides haven for them, they will be happy to sit here.
Sure.
Some states are banning commercial motorcyclists. They are banning them. Lagos has not found the courage to ban them because we think if we ban them, we will all die. In Kano State, no town in Nigeria, no city in Nigeria had as many commercial motorcyclists like Kano. I lived in Kano for more than 7 years. If they told me that commercial motorcyclists could be banned in Kano, I would argue. And when you are looking for the most dangerous motorcycle riders, they were in Kano. In fact, my boss, Dakwolo Yomi, described them as having a laissez-faire attitude to life. That was how he described them. But today, in the aftermath of the Boko Haram insurgency, Kano had to take a decision because they were using bikes to kill people. You could be inside your car and they will just ride their bike beside you, identify you and kill you.
Yeah.
So the government had to take a decision. Commercial motorcycling banned in Kano. Of all places, I never believed it could happen.
And everyone has not fallen.
And everyone has not fallen. They've taken to riding, what was it?
Keke
Marwa.
Tricycles.
You can ride a bike, but you can't carry anybody. If you carry a passenger, that means you are a commercial motorcycle and you are in trouble. And they are enforcing it. Lagos has LASMA. Kano has Karota. Karota does the same thing that LASMA does in Kano. I can tell you, as someone who goes to Kano regularly, that Karota is more vicious in the enforcement of traffic laws than LASMA. I can tell, ask anybody who is in Kano. The fear of Karota is the beginning of wisdom. So what we are saying is, look, every society deserves the kind of law that best fits it. When HIV/AIDS became a big problem in Uganda, Museveni and people were raping people, young people, raping virgins, in the hope that when they raped a virgin, they will be cleansed of HIV. Imagine that idiotic thinking. What did Museveni do? Museveni then came up with a law that prescribed death for rape. That whole thing came down. We no longer read about people raping virgins in the hope that they will be cleansed of HIV/AIDS in Uganda, as it was happening at that time.
So we'll continue the conversation. We have to take a commercial break at this point. You're watching Journalists Hangout on TVC News. We're still on the issue of enhancing peace and security in Lagos State, especially in the wake of this concerning kidnappings and other insecurity alerts in the city. Well, Mr. Jamiu, BK has spoken about a ban on the commercial motorcyclists in Nigeria's commercial capital city. He has also talked about, you know, the dislodging of criminals at the creeks in the city. These people are now looking for safe havens. And the governor has also spoken a few months ago when the police appeared to be in denial of, you know, kidnappings like this. The governor had indeed, you know, voiced out that we all should be responsible, you know, for our own and be more security conscious, really. But if you can speak on the issue of the motorcyclists, you know, we have so many of them in the city, but would a ban on them help? I
don't think there's a better time to enforce a ban on commercial motorcyclists, also known as Okada, than now. Because in the last 2 weeks, there was a popular biker, Afolabi Mabogunje, who was stabbed right at, I think, Onipanu bus stop. I mean, all bikers from all over the world came to Nigeria for the burial. He was stabbed by Okada riders, 5 of them, just because they want to snatch his phone. Around 6 p.m. in the evening. That was about 2 weeks ago. And just last week, CSP Akim Abonde was killed by Okada riders in Lagos. This, and the case of this CSP is not as if he has 2 heads or something. This is a guy, a police officer that has about 5 master's degrees and he has a PhD in view. I mean, it touched my heart.
Just wasted like that.
It was just wasted like that by Okada riders. So now I was happy when I saw that charge. I won't say it's a statement from the Lagos State governor yesterday, personally signed by him, giving a direct charge to Akim Odumosu, the Commissioner of Police, that he should go after the killers of CSP Abonde. I mean, they must be brought to book. But then, like we were discussing before we came on the show, most of these commercial motorcyclists, the riders, they are not Nigerians. So they don't care. They don't give a hoot. And most of them are in Lagos. If you look at the percentage, more than 50% of them are not Nigerians. They don't care. They don't even know how to write. They are not registered. They are not licensed. They don't have any address that you can trace them to. So that's why they go on the loose, and they have this their group. It's like they send to themselves, maybe they are from Niger Republic or from Benin Republic. Most of them are not Nigerians. So why can't we enforce that ban and send these hoodlums out of Lagos? See, the rate of criminality is on the increase because even those routes that were hitherto restricted by the Lagos State government,
they are back on them.
They are back on them. You'll be driving,
riding against traffic,
even on the express,
and you dare not touch them.
If you touch any of them, before you know it, about 30 of them, they'll come back,
surround you and attack you. They don't want, even if you are a woman, they will surround you, humiliate you. Yeah. They don't want to know. They have no, because these are people who are constantly on drugs. Go to Lekki, see what they are doing in Lekki. How can a society allow so-called motorcycle taxis to constitute the nonsense that they have become in Lekki, a highbrow part of our country that we should be proud of? Now, these vermins are the ones who are literally taking charge of things.
Yeah.
They rob you at will. You are never safe.
The governor has also spoken about, okay, before we continue, Chris Lewis from Edo, you're welcome. Lewis from Enugu State, you're welcome. Good evening.
Yes, Lewis, by the grace of God, an apostle and Christ ambassador in Enugu. Please, I want to say something. We need a solution for the problem we have in insecurity in Nigeria here. Government should help us. Like the day they say they will bring in the Carlo out for court. Let them do that, and it is not a crime to bring him out from the cell to court. After all, Nigerian government is greater than anything they will face. I don't see the reason why they will be afraid to execute what they are.
It's glitching.
All right, we apologize for those glitches now. Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis, for speaking to us on Journalist Hangout. Well, back to the studio. The governor of Lagos has also spoken about enhancing security architecture in the state in response and as a way to be proactive and be on top of its game. What do you have to say about what we currently have and what we need for a more secure state?
There is no measure of security you can take without effecting a ban on Okada. And it will all come to naught. Because it's like these characters, it's like they have a law. They don't obey traffic law. They are a law unto themselves. They don't believe that any law is made for them. So, I mean, it's like they operate in their own colony. They have their own fiefdom. So, a ban on Okada will drastically reduce the crime rate in Lagos because it's an easy getaway for all these hoodlums.
Yes.
You go to a bank, to an ATM to withdraw money. A bike man is waiting to watch you. The moment you are coming out, they just come at you with a gun. Before you know it, they jump on the bike and zoom off. I mean,
one will be on the bike. The other one will come across you. Once they rob you, they climb the bike.
Yeah,
we have so many videos. Even the police, they have many videos. of real-time robbery by Okada riders.
The Lagos government is installing cameras all over, but
there are cameras in some areas, yes, in more and more areas.
Yes.
How come those don't?
We can't help. Those cameras, you see, will not work if you still allow all these Okada riders. Most of them don't even have plate numbers. The camera
and many of them are not registered. How many people have registered
those cameras are largely
for
motorists.
More for motorists.
Those of us who are beating, you see red light, you refuse to stop. They will catch you and then you pay a fine later. That's what those lights are for. Well, we are saying that we just read as we were coming into this story that Kaduna had decided to ban the Okada operation. I've not read the details. I've not seen it. It's just the news bite that we saw. Whether it is permanent or just meant for a period of time, we don't even know yet. But Kaduna has taken that decision. And I know that if anything, if Governor Rufai gets pushed to the wall on any matter, he's never afraid to take the big decisions.
Regardless of the opposition.
That little man is never afraid to take the big decisions. That is one thing that we have come to associate with him. Okada riders have pushed us to breaking point in this state. And there's a need to realize that if you want to improve security in Lagos State, you start by dealing decisively with those guys. You take a big decision. Yes, people will feel the pain, but government has to prepare. All this what's that vehicle called? The ones that Falike is sharing all over the place. Get a lot more of them.
Those Suzuki.
Yes, those small vehicles. Yeah. Get a lot more of them. Flood the city with them. They will replace
and restrict them to certain routes. Yeah.
They will replace this bike. They can go. They can even go into the inner city, city streets and all that. They can go there, because they are small. But to simply resign to fate, imagine that we cannot, we can't ban them.
No.
Who are they? In this country, there was a time when there was nothing like motorcycle taxi. Yeah. Were we not getting by?
Sure.
It's a very recent development. It's a very recent. When we were growing up, there was nothing like that.
People should we should even learn to exercise. Then if you need to go on a journey, plan your journey very well. So you leave early. So you would say you want to beat traffic by
if we have enough buses. If we have enough buses.
It shouldn't be
the reason these guys. There are some communities that people can't get to. Vehicles, no taxis don't go to those places. Buses don't go to those places. That's the reason why they look indispensable. And another thing, even if Lagos bans Okada and Ogun State, the state notorious for having the worst roads in Nigeria, if they don't do anything about Okada, things will get worse. They will be coming into Lagos. They will be coming into Lagos to commit crimes.
Look at them. That's a highbrow area in Lagos.
People are saying when there are graduates who are riding Okada, what do? Let government get a lot of those vehicles. Tell them to come and register. And then these graduates, give them those vehicles to use.
All right.
What did Akpabio do? He banned Okada and he bought taxis for them.
BKO, let's accommodate Rashid from Port Harcourt. We'll get more on this topic. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, madam. BKO, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, please, BKO. I personally want to appeal that Mr. Sikiru should try and we want to see more of him. It's like junior BKO. Anytime we hear his voice, it's also a very good analyst. Please help us to.
Thank you very much for contributing. He's talking about cereal. He's talking about cereal. That he's a junior BKO. But across Lagos, gentlemen, we are also having, alarming security concerns, not just in the east. There is a reported raid on the palace of the Emir of Kagara in Niger State, the same area where students were, also kidnapped. That's Niger State. The MI wasn't around at the time. Also, in Plateau State, there is also a reported kidnap of a former minister.
Yes, Ewuga.
Ewuga. You know, all this all happening at once. Almost every state isn't. There appears to be no state that is immune to its own security woes. You know, what can be done holistically?
You know, we have said it earlier. The rate of insecurity is not just localized to the Northeast again. We have instances where the Boko Haram elements or renegades are now moving around. I mean, those who claimed to have repented, and also those who are used to, who are engaging in cattle rustling before. Now they have seen that there is a higher pay from kidnapping. So a lot of people are going to kidnapping, and the more people continue to pay ransoms, and those kidnappers and those bandits are not getting caught, they are not being reprimanded. I mean, they are not paid. They're paying the price for their actions. Then I mean, it's like we are encouraging them that this pays. This business is good business. So they will continue to go into banditry, kidnapping, and what have you. Now they go to. I mean, imagine the effrontery, the audacity for hoodlums or bandits to go into the palace of an emir to attempt to, I mean, abduct him for a ransom. It would have been too embarrassing. I mean, it would have been too embarrassing. I thank God that the man was not around. But it has happened in some parts of the country where they actually succeeded in taking traditional rulers and in some parts of the country. So it's quite embarrassing.
So they are not even kidnapping people on the highway.
They even
going right
in the privacy of their homes.
There was also something happened in Kogi, in Lokoja. There is an estate just after commissioner's quarters. They call it Wada Estate. They went there and plucked people out of their houses in the dead of night around 2 a.m. Took them away. So if you keep policemen on the highway, guiding the highway, imagine that protecting people against kidnapping. How about in the night when people are in their homes? They are now breaking people's doors and taking them away in the dead of night while they are sleeping. So this is the thing. We think security has collapsed in our country. We've got to do much better than we are doing. This is the fact. We can't run away from it. We can't run away. Kogi, that we are praising, Kogi, we are doing well. Look at some of the incidents that have happened in Kogi in the last few weeks.
Jailbreaks.
Go into a church.
And going to churches.
Two different churches. Yeah. They attacked 2 different churches. One, Living Faith, took away people. Then went to another church too, in the Kaba area, took people away, broke into a prison. In the same Kogi, went to the Wada Estate, took away people in the dead of night. So,
right.
what can we say?
More still needs to be done. There's still a